Hello everybody and welcome along to the evening session here at Daytona International Speedway and the first race action here in the week of the 63rd running of the Rolex 24 Hours of Daytona. It's the Whelen Mazda MX-5 Cup presented by Michelin, and we are delighted to tell you that we are just in off the coast at Daytona Beach, Florida, at the Daytona International Speedway. 12 corners, 3.5 miles, which includes the wonderful draft vest that you get from these cars. They're up on top with a roll cage in them, as well as the rather technical infield section, which includes the two hairpins, the International Horseshoe and the West Horseshoe, the commitment kink, and then back up onto the Speedway. Of course, we've got the Le Mans chicane on the back straight as well between Speedway 2 and 3, looking a little bit different without the foliage, without the grass that we've seen in previous years. I'm John Hindorf, and alongside me in the IMSA Global Broadcast Centre, my usual co-commentator of many years has now taken on a new job and has moved off with working with us to be with the series. I've just retweeted your video share. Welcome back to the booth.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here and happy to be representing Mazda, third member of my family, my immediate family, to be working for the brand, so it's nice.
Really?
My brother Damon and his wife Michaela, both of them have been employees of Mazda for quite some time, so really happy to be representing such a wonderful brand and getting ready for the first race of the season. We've got 36 cars in the field, 36 drivers ready to take the green flag, and a lot of them are rookies and newbies to this format of racing as it is.
Now, as it stands, this was always going to be a challenge. The weather is throwing in a bit of a curveball. The track temperature, which was reasonable earlier on, has dropped now to 13 Celsius, that's 55 Fahrenheit. The air temperature staying around about the same, 8 degrees on the Celsius scale, that is 46 Fahrenheit. But what we've got is a little bit of dampness, a little bit of rain falling.
And Randy Buck, the race director for this series, actually just popping in a few moments ago to inform us what was going on. There's rain in the forecast during the race, which means that we would have to come in, cause a red flag. Every team would get 5 minutes to change all the tires on all of their cars, which for some teams like Sato Motorsport Group, not a big deal. You have 2 cars, JTR Motorsports Engineering and MMR, they have 7 each, so that's a little bit more complicated. So they've elected to go ahead and switch all the tires onto the wet Michelins before we go green. They've already started lining the cars back up at the pit exit in their order that they will begin the race. I was going to say qualifying order, but we've had some changes from that. And then we will be able to go into a situation where we get 2 formation laps and a green flag. Now, if this situation arises where we need to shorten the race because maybe it takes longer for the tires to get changed, we will deal with that when we get to it, but race control is on top of this. They want safety more than anything else.
So this has been declared a wet race then?
Correct.
And the tyres are going on. You don't have to put wet tyres on though, do you?
Yes, you do. If race control says it's a wet start for a race before the green flag, you have to put wet tires on.
Okay.
And they're doing this because they don't want to have to stop the race halfway through to give everyone time.
Lug nuts, of course, rather than centre lock wheels, and the treaded Michelin tyres going on to those racing wheels. This is not going to be the work of a moment, so it gives us the opportunity to talk about what happened in qualifying, because for a number of drivers, in fact probably for the whole field, it was not their finest moment. We'll talk about the big talking point in a moment. However, there was a penalty assessed on one of the season regulars, favourites, and front runners, Jeremy Fletcher, and then the number 22 Mazda. What was that all about?
Jeremy was involved in some heavy contact during qualifying with numerous other cars, actually. It was listed as multiple on the timing screen. Because of that contact, ultimately he will be starting at the back of the field. He is the 36th car to roll out of the pit lane. And it's in a backup car because there was actually that much damage sustained to his blue machine that he is in the MMR spare car, which is a black car with a yellow roll cage. So it is still number 22, and there is a big white circle on the side of the car with the number 22, still sitting in its pit box, hasn't yet moved. That's Jeremy for this race. So he's not going to be in the blue machine with JFR written on the side, as now that car begins to roll off toward the false grid area. Also at the back of the pack, Weston Workman. He had some pretty serious damage to the right front of his car. It looked like there was some sort of a tire issue that eventually led to a suspension issue. Upon closer examination, they think it might have been a bolt that had come loose, some further issue beyond what we saw out on the track. So Weston is going to be starting next to last. He was Rookie of the Year last year.
Right, now let's address what was the elephant in the room, or perhaps
several
we should call it, perhaps we should call it the sloth in the room, because it was moving, all about moving slowly. There was a directive that came from Randy Buck and Race Control before all of the cars rolled out into qualifying about minimum lap times. What we didn't want to see, this is a drafting track. This is where you get your slipstream. That gives you your lap times. What we didn't want to see was a Moto 2, Moto 3 motorcycle type qualifying session where everybody was doing a backward cycling race. Unfortunately, that's exactly what we got. A number of people were originally assessed penalties of loss of fastest laps because they went two fastest laps, yes, because they went well over that lap time, which is generous, by the way. It's not as if you've got a hammer round there every time. It's a good minute more than people really should need to be going. But crawling around, it was described to me by somebody, and I put this into my brain. It looked like a NASCAR race in slow motion, because we were 5 and 4 wide at various points, but doing 40 miles an hour, and that wasn't good.
No.
So those penalties were assessed. Some of them were taken away because of the fact that there was an incident that involved Jeremy Fletcher that we mentioned.
Correct. And ultimately what Race Control decided and explained to the drivers in a drivers meeting only a couple hours ago is that if you leave the pit lane, you should be leaving the pit lane with the people with whom you're trying to set a lap time on the track. You're not supposed to wait for people. Once you're out on the circuit, you're supposed to go, and you are expected to go at a certain pace. We had the slew of sloths, I guess it's fair to say.
Very good.
People going around the track at what looked like 60 miles an hour, not even, maybe 45. They were doing the legal speed limit for Daytona International Boulevard. But they were not up to speed, and they were all being reluctant to go. Randy established, no, if you want to wait for somebody, you better wait for them in the pit lane and then leave together, because that's not safe behavior on the track. So the penalties that were issued were for exceeding a minimum lap time, i.e. taking too long to get around the lap. And what they decided was that there were then certain ones of those penalties that had been issued that had a very good reason for exceeding the minimum lap time, because they were trying to avoid a giant issue in front of them.
Yeah, absolutely. Hello to those of you around the circuit listening in on the PA on 107.9 FM. Around the world, of course, our global TV feed, live, free, uninterrupted. No subscriptions required anywhere. Nice to have your company at, what is this, 10:30 in the UK, 11:30 in Central Europe. Hello to Elliot Lindemood. Wet race. I might need a little libation for this. Hello to Cass, who is tuned in as well. Looking forward to some entertaining racing here. And to Jake Paris. Hello, Jake. Thanks for your support recently. He's in the stands at the King there, and he's got something warming and red with him. The pit lane officials have done a cracking job to make sure that the twice revised grid actually is getting lined up properly, and that everyone, so that we're not wasting any more time, everybody is rolling into line where they should be.
And should just finish by saying the cars that were issued a penalty that did not have that penalty rescinded are in order of back to front. Jeremy Fletcher, which we've already established, Weston Workman, we've already established, Ashlyn Speed in the number 31, Carolyn Candace in the number 81, and Noah Harmon, who comes in as the scholarship winner for this year, in the number 77. So those 5 cars have been moved to the back of the pack. Those are 5 fast cars.
Yeah.
They're not going to be at the back for very long.
So that has set the scene. What was already going to be a race in the gloaming is now going to go into a little, even a little more darkness. It is just after 6:35 in the evening, Eastern time here at Daytona. And what a great sight it is to see these multicoloured Mazda MX-5 Cup cars with us here for this race. Based, of course, on the MX-5, which is celebrating a birthday. The Miata and the MX-5, the ultimate recreation, I suppose, by Mazda of the great British sports cars of the 1950s and 1960s, was seen as something of a bit of a roll of the dice for Mazda, this smallish car company from Japan. When it came out, it was an instant success and has continued to be so. And we're celebrating a glorious anniversary this year.
They're the same age that I am. Miata and I are 35, and yeah, it's been a good run for Mazda. They're probably aging a little bit better than I am. But if you're around and you want to be a part of something very special for Mazda, come over after race 2 tomorrow to the Midway. There's a car under a black tarp that will be removed tomorrow. So as we get rolling here for this first race, just remember.
Hang on, you can't just leave it at that. There's a car under a back top that's going to be removed.
It's going to be unveiled tomorrow after the second race. So after the culmination of Mazda racing this weekend, we are going to have that unveiling of a special 35th edition Miata. It's going to be something worth seeing. So if you're hanging around in the infield at Daytona, don't miss it. It's definitely worth the visit. Now, 2 formation laps because they have changed the tires. And I know it's not raining hard yet, but Randy Buck, the race director, has looked at the radar and said, there's heavier stuff coming. We need to be prepared for this. And nobody is more prepared for this than Nate Cicero, our championship leader, because he got 10 points in qualifying.
Let's have a look at the Mazda starting grid with then Nate Cicero on pole position for Sato Motorsport Group, then Gresham Wagner in second place. We'll start on the outside of the front row. Ethan Tyler for BSI, Jared Thomas for JTR, Grant West for Spark. Best of the rookies, Whelen Mazda for BSI Racing in the 27 car. JTR have Glenn McGee on the inside of row 4 with Jagger Jones, the bright green BSI Racing car. Great debut for Jagger Jones. It's not an easy championship to jump into. Very happy for him that he's getting to grips very quickly. Bryce Cornet, Spark Performance on the inside of row 5 with Parker DeLong alongside him in the number 42 car. Outside the top 10, Alex Bashura of Spark Performance, as Weston Workman has stalled his car, I think. He's still got electrical power. He's trying to recycle the engine. Shea will watch that while I go through the grid. Alex Bashura in the number 33 for Spark Performance in a very creditable 11th position, with Frankie Barroso, another one of the rookies for AAG in 12th. Then it's Nathan Nicholson and Tyler Gonzalez, Bailey Cruz, another rookie, and Todd Burris for AAG. Bobby Gossett in 17th position with Ron Messenger. That's a full row of rookies there, isn't it? And then Sally Mott's the 21st runner, Julian DaCosta, Justin Adoconis, and behind Justin, it's Cody Powell, Ruben Gutierrez. Now that'll be a quick car coming through as well. Malte Gutierrez, Farhan Siddiqui, Chris Haldeman, Heather Hadley, Peter Atwater, Sally McNulty, and then Noah Harmon, Caroline Candace from Le Mans, Ashlyn Speed, Weston Workman's car with a bit of a problem, and then Jeremy Fletcher after his incident down at the back. So they come through past us here. I don't think this is going to cause a problem because we've got another warm-up lap to do, another formation lap to do because of the change of conditions that is allowed for in the regulations. At the moment, we're still single file behind the MX-5 safety car.
Yep.
Is it your understanding? Oh, we've gone full course yellow now. So we have started. This
Correct.
is rather Bathurst-like, isn't it?
It was going to be a green flag at the culmination of the first formation lap, no matter what, but they were never going to go green. And we should still be getting a side-by-side start when we do go to green the next time around.
My next question.
Yeah. I'm gutted for Weston Workman, though. I mean, his family's here, his mom and dad, and he's got an aunt and an uncle who are visiting too, and was really excited about the possibility of today's race, and it all just went out the window during that qualifying session. What's more upsetting is that Weston is not going to have the opportunity to set a faster lap time potentially than he did in qualifying, which would have been a low bar, and then have a better starting position for tomorrow's race. So Weston is, by the looks of it, not going to be able to take the green flag on this one.
That is a real dent. You really can't afford low scores in this championship if you want to be part of the conversation for the end of season championship and the $250,000 of real cash money. See, I have to say that now. She can't say it because she's a Mazda employee. And hello to the Discord RWEC group. This is one of their favourite events of the weekend. I know it's not necessarily endurance, but goodness me, it's 45 minutes of edge of your seat racing.
It's endurance and not letting your patience go too quickly. You need to hold on and wait to make your move. I asked several of the drivers last night, actually, how do you win this thing? Oh, Weston's moving. Excellent. He's got going once again.
Now, did he lose a lap, though?
Not technically. He hasn't taken the green flag yet. So
if he gets his
almost
foot down now, he can get back on. The safety car lights are out, so he hasn't lost the lap. So either he's bump started it off the back of the safety truck, which if he did do that, that's a really smart thing to do.
He is a really smart guy.
Yeah, well, and the other thing is, he's going to have really hot tyres by the time he gets back round, if he can do that. Now,
yep, he's almost there. He's almost at the tail as they are beginning to line up side by side to take the green flag for this race.
Let's check the timing and scoring as we come back off this. He's still showing on the lead lap here.
He's not showing as having completed a Sector 1 or a Sector 2.
Did he get a shortcut?
No.
If he was towed off the track into a shortcut, that would be a problem because he would lose that lap. Shea Adam was entirely correct. We are going to get a side-by-side start. This is effectively coming back after a yellow, but because it is the start of the race proper, we've gone side-by-side. Nate Cicero on pole position for Saito Motorsport Group on the bottom of the racetrack. Gresham Wagner in the number 5, the darker car on the top side. Under the lights at Daytona International Speedway, we kick off the 2025 Whelen Mazda MX-5 Cup presented by Michelin with a restart after a problem for Weston Workman. He's got back onto the end of the train of cars. Down on the yellow line, waiting for the pole sitter. Green flag in the air, and Nate Cicero gets his foot down, crosses the line. He's jumped a couple of cars lengths, so he's done a really good there. Right at the back, Jeremy Fletcher in that black car with the yellow roll cage, the red tail lights, and what I can see from our booth as they go into turn 1, and Weston Workman comes straight in to the pit lane. Start is under review. That is absolutely standard operational procedure. Fabulous start by Nate Cicero in the lighter coloured car, which I can see coming out of the International Horseshoe now. In second, it is the 5 of Gresham Wagner. Up into third position, it's Jared Thomas as they go through the kink for the first time. Unsure perhaps of how much grip there is out there with rain falling gently. They have gone on to the Michelin wet weather tyres, down to the West hairpin, West Horseshoe for the first time. Headlights ablaze on the leader, Nate Cicero. that was a copybook start. He really controlled that very well indeed, Shay.
Who won race 2 here last year? That would be Nate Cicero. He knows how to lead around Daytona International Speedway, and he is doing it once again in a very commanding fashion. Weston Workman being pushed back into his pit box, by the way, by the BSI crew, so clearly not all okay with that number 13 machine, but a breakaway at the head of the field as Nate Cicero, former MMR driver, is being pushed by Gresham Wagner, current MMR driver and two-time defending series champion.
And a bit of bump drafting is okay, but you cannot have sustained or constant contact. 4 wide behind, standard operational procedure for the Whelen Mazda MX-5 Championship. Side by side there with the red and white car. That's Jared Thomas having to get his elbows out. Somebody's gone wide at the top.
Glenn McGee.
Glenn McGee. Now, that was again a little bit of hip and shoulder there. Did Glenn get damage to his car as he went up there? Was he pulling out the way, or did he just fall off the racing line? The leaders come down to the start-finish line to complete the lap. And underneath us, the first pair, side by side. Let's see if Gresham Wagner dives down the inside. No, he doesn't. At the moment, they're working together. 1, 2, 3, 4 wide, maybe 5 wide. As Jared Thomas still leads that second pass. Jagger Jones coming around the outside of the bright green car. Can't get that done. And Gresham drops back a couple of positions, being overhauled by Bryce Cornet. Tyler Gonzalez right in there as well. Watch out for that number 50 car. That's Grant West in the yellow and blue machine.
And Grant had been leading that second training car until they got to the start-finish line, when all of a sudden he got swallowed up by not being a part of the draft. That is part of what everyone needs to learn with racing at Daytona. And Grant, who's done 2 partial seasons before, never actually taken the green flag at Daytona. He's always had misfortune in the practice. Watched the races from the grandstand. Now he's watching from behind the driver's seat, sitting P5 as Elio Meza is getting his elbows out. He is learning what this style of racing is all about. A Spec Miata graduate, he won the scholarship for Spec Miata 2 years ago. He was runner-up in the shootout this year, walked away with a nice big check from Mazda, and now he's learning what it's like to race in this level of competitiveness. Cicero still leads from Gresham Wagner. They have a 2-second advantage over Jared Thomas.
Back to the leaders heading round towards the braking area at the Le Mans chicane, and it's still Nate Cicero from Wagner in second. The headlights now really beginning to take effect as darkness falls. The second group still having their battles as well, as Tyler Gonzalez was down the inside of Cornet there, and he's made the Bryce Cornet drops to 4th, and a huge midfield battle. I'm just trying to see as well how the starters at the back have got on, particularly Jeremy Fletcher. He's up to 27th position in that replacement car, so he's working his way through the field, and he does not want yellow actually at the moment. He wants green. He wants to be able to pick his way through the traffic. Oh, and a problem.
Cicero's into the pit lane. He's dived in from the head of the field. Now, what's going on with Nate Cicero? Gresham Wagner is going, no!
I think he's going to put slicks on. I don't think it's wet enough for wets. And he's gambling on the fact that everybody else's wet tyres will not be able to go the rest of the race. We haven't got anything on the screen for penalties.
The start is under review.
Yeah, he's going in.
Yep.
Yeah, it's one. Is it just one tyre? Right side tyres.
Sides?
He's going to right side tyres here. Now, what I can't see is whether they've got, I mean, you can't put one side of wets and one side of
they are slicks.
Slicks on. They're slicks, so they're going to do a full tyre change. This is really brave. We don't see this in MX-5 racing. There's 36 minutes to go. They're having a look around the back. I think they might be making a slight suspension issue, looking at a slight suspension issue as well.
No, they're just changing the tires.
What is going on here? So right sides, and now they go to the left.
Yep.
He must feel that those tyres are going to overheat. These are good wet to dry tyres from Michelin. They're not an intermediate though. The grooves will mean that they're going around. He's going to lose a lap if they can't get him out quickly. The leaders are now coming down to the Le Mans chicane. Weston Workman, by the way, has gone back out. He's just ahead of the lead group.
But Gresham Wagner still has a 2-second lead. He's by himself, and the pack has not been able to close in on him at all.
Tyler Gonzalez leading the charge with Bryce Cornier, Grant West, Jagger Jones, Nathan Nicholson, and the best of the rookies is Ethan Guillard.
All right, Cicero is leaving the pit lane now.
So he hasn't lost a lap.
Where is Gresham? Gresham is coming through NASCAR turn 4. He hasn't lost a lap. He's lost the majority of a lap, and he needs to get heat in his Michelin tires. This is going to be close. He's going to have to fend off Gresham Wagner.
He's on the infield now, and
still exiting the pit lane.
Gets out of the pit lane. Here's Workman coming through. Then the number 19 of Nate Cicero. Still shows on the front straight on the tracker, but that's because he's just come out the pit lane. Right, he's in the International Horseshoe now. Well, he hasn't got any rear lights on. Brake lights are still working, but his rear lights aren't. Will that be a problem?
As a Floridian and someone who lives in Florida, that's a Florida driver thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Very rarely do we actually turn our headlights or, trigger the lights when we should have them on.
Okay.
And race control hasn't mandated headlights to be turned on yet. And now Gresham's in trouble because Tyler Gonzalez is all over him.
Now, this is interesting because the cars are starting to move around. The cars that are still on wets are starting to move around. And the number 57 of Tyler Gonzalez, the red and white classic Mazda Orlando supported car. Look at the attitude of the cars coming out the corner shade. They are really struggling. This might be an absolute masterstroke from Nate Cicero, who was leading for Saito Motorsport Group. It's great fun. It's like doing indoor karting when they've slicked up the surface, isn't it? This is the battle for the lead on Speedway turn number 1 and 2. There's barely anything between Gresham Wagner and Tyler Gonzalez. Then it's 2 seconds, the better part of, to Bryce Cornier, who's got Jagger Jones right in his wheel tracks. This is a really good debut from Jagger Jones and PSI. Then Nathan Nicholson in 5th position. Keep an eye on the lap times. 2 minutes 15, 2 minutes 18, 2 minutes 17 at the front of the field last time around. Nate Cicero, his best was a 2:16.1. It took him 2:29 because, of course, he was in the pit lane. So let's see how he gets on. Crucially, I think he got out ahead of Weston Workman as well.
He did.
Yeah.
Frankie Barroso just had a moment going through the Le Mans chicane. It looks like his right front headlight might be pushed in a bit too, so just need to keep an eye on that AAG machine number 76. But between Tyler Gonzalez and Gresham Wagner leading the way, out of the last 8 races we've had at Daytona International Speedway, they've won 4 of them. They know what they're doing here.
Whatever the problem was with Weston Workman, I think they've fixed it. Although he's lost some laps, of course, because he's just put in a 2:15.609 for him. That is impressive. Gresham Wagner, though, has done a 14.2. So despite the car moving around under him, that black and light blue. Now, let's see, as they come on the infield, what the situation is. Waiting for another lap time. Now, who's gone straight on? Oh my goodness. Down the inside, missed. That was on the wrong side of the tyre bales coming out the Le Mans chicane, and that is an absolute no-no. 2 cars side by side. Alex Bashura stayed on the track.
Todd Burris.
But Todd Burris did not.
And gained an advantage, so that
He
will
wants
be
to give
a
that back
penalty
straight away.
from race control.
Give it back straight away. These cars have got radios.
I think that was a few laps ago, actually, that happened. I remember thinking, oh, somebody got lucky there, and it was Todd Burris, who's coming back to the series after a few years away. By the way, Todd, he and his wife own several Krispy Kreme locations in the state of Florida, so we do like donuts in this series, but we prefer them to be the smoky variety and celebratory more than anything else. Gonzalez looking down the inside of Wagner as they go into braking for turn 7, or the Le Mans chicane. Who's going to lift first? It's gonna be Wagner, as Gonzalez loves when the car is slightly out of control. He really likes a car where the rear end is trying to come around the front.
Last time around, 2:14.250 for Wagner, 2:14.260 2.0. They were miles quicker than anyone else. Next best, probably Bryce Cornier in third. No, actually, it was the fourth place, Jagger Jones, a 2:15.2. Nobody anywhere near the two leaders at the moment who are pushing each other on. Nate Cicero getting heat into his slick Michelin tyres, we believe, with a 2:15.515. Has a huge amount of real estate to pick up. He's about 2 minutes and 5 seconds down, so he's 10 seconds away from getting lapped. A warning for a false start given. That's a bit of a lucky break.
To Christopher Haldeman, one of our drivers who's actually going for one of the new awards. The Takumi Award is new for this year. For drivers over the age of 40, there are a few in the field, so I'm going to have to keep an eye on that because that award will be given out at the podium at the end of the race. And also, John, an award I didn't tell you about yet. It's the Penske Shocking Performance Award, the driver who makes up the most positions from start to finish. So we do.
I thought you were going to say the driver who makes the biggest mistake for shocking performance. Okay.
Shocking in a bad way. No, I thought a solid candidate was going to be Weston Workman, but Jeremy Fletcher right now is taking that award. He's gained 15 positions so far, up to P20 from P35.
Yeah, that's going to be a no-brainer, I think, for them. Of course, poor Nate Cicero is going to actually pass the most drivers if he's going to get back, but of course he started on pole.
Yes, that's what I said, is that's what it should be, and the response was, well, how do you calculate that? Yes, good point.
So you can drop back, go forward, drop back.
Exactly.
I understand. Yeah.
You could just pass the same car over and over and over again. Make an agreement with them and then tie.
In fairness, in this championship, you do pass the same car over and over again. Last time around, Gresham Wagner dropped to second position. Let's see what the times are this time, as Tyler Gonzalez would lead the lap. There are points for leading laps, most laps led as well. Working lap number 7 at the moment in a time-certain race, which is barely 15 minutes old in terms of green flag racing. We did start under yellow flags because of the change of tyres to wet, and then Weston Workman not getting going on that first attempt at the start. Gresham Wagner in second place in the darker of the two cars, comes into the brightly lit area on the tri-oval. They go through this time, 2:14.9 for the leader, 2:14.975 for the leader, 2:14.974 for Gresham Wagner. Gained 1/1000th of a second in 3.5 miles. Now, what about the group behind? That's led by the best of the rookies, Ethan Goulart for Sato Motorsports Group. He's doing a great job at the moment. 2:14.7 by Nate Cicero. So he's now quicker than the leaders, and he's on a tyre that he knows will get to the end of the race. The track temperature is dropping. Is it dropping enough for the drivers that are still on wet weather tyres? Basically, the cuts in the tyres, the sipes as they're called, they do not give you any grip. What they're there to do is to move surface water, but when they get overheated without that cool of the water, the tread blocks start to move around, and that's what we're already seeing. And we've still got something near 26 minutes to go.
That was going to be my next point. It was 26.5 minutes. All right. So right now, Nate Cicero is not making up nearly enough time to get back toward the front of this battle. But as we continue to develop over the next 26 minutes, what's going to happen with the tires? Are they going to drop off? The problem is these are Michelins. They're great tires, whether it's rain or dry.
Well, we know from experience in other championships, and including endurance championships, that the Michelin rain tyres have been extremely resilient coming out of full wet into quote-unquote intermediate conditions and then into dry, to the point where in World Endurance Championship races at Le Mans, teams are really reticent to come in earlier than they need to go back to the slicks. That crossover point, as the engineers call it, very, very important indeed.
Wagner
into the pits. Wagner into the pits. He's going to change tyres. Gresham Wagner, who has stayed out for what, 4, 5 extra laps.
Oh no, I'm getting reports of raindrops outside as well.
Well, the dice has been rolled by Gresham Wagner and by Nate Cicero. I'm keeping an eye on the track temp. It's 13 Celsius at the moment. That's 55 Fahrenheit. If it rains, that track temp will come down because the air temperature is only 46 Fahrenheit. Now this has to be a 4-tyre stop. You cannot mix and match the tyres.
The rain is visible now. As the camera zooms in through the light, it is actually starting to rain heavier. Now, who has life left in their wet Michelins? Who used up too much of the rubber?
Early on.
Early on.
It might be a new set of wets might be the way to go before the end of this. Definitely raining at the western end of the infield.
Reports that there is heavier rain at NASCAR Turn 4. So when you're coming off the banking to come back around to the start-finish line. Thanks, Paul.
What's interesting is that there's a lot of people putting in their fastest laps now in the midfield. And Nate Cicero did a 14.8 last time around. So he's consistent at least, but he's not getting any faster. 15.2s for the fastest. Out. Wagner is out. Now, is that because they've made the bad call? I don't think there's anything wrong with the car. Are they looking underneath at the back?
They had the car up with the jack at the tail. They had that elevated. Gresham is not happy. He's shaking his head. Car 5 retired already officially from race control.
Yeah, he's walked away from it.
Oh, gosh.
Dark on the far side of the circuit. I really like this call by the series and by IMSA, where they haven't got all the lights on round the circuit. Now we're seeing bump drafting on the banking as well.
Bryce Cornier is leading. Tyler Gonzalez is second. In third, we now have, I believe that's a rookie. It's hard to tell with all the headlights. Nathan Nicholson is in fourth, and Ethan Tyler is in fifth.
Rookies to the fore there as they come through with Ethan Gunnar, Nathan Nicholson in his second season. Ren Messenger as well, and Noah Harmon are now up into the early teens, 12th and 13th position. And this is not over. Well, it's never over until the checkered flag has been passed. But this is the battle group for the lead, the battle pack for the lead, with Tyler Gonzalez leading. Now down to second, excuse me, Bryce Cornier in the more silver car on the infield. Good smattering of spectators in this early part of the week on a Thursday evening at Daytona.
This is a great opportunity for Bryce Cornier, a guy who hasn't always had the funding behind it, but he does have his sponsors here this weekend with the Bird Foundation, and they have a great association doing a lot in Oklahoma to try and raise awareness for suicide. And big moment there from Tyler Gonzalez as he got sideways. He did get help, but also going around the outside of him was Ethan Goulart, making his debut in the series, but already a national champion in Spec MX.
Big sideways moment for Nathan Nicholson in turn 6. Lost the front of the black and white car. Jagger Jones gets into him as they come out onto the high banks. He didn't want to lift. Jones didn't want to lift. I understand that, but had to give a bit more racing room, I think. And right in behind Jagger Jones, the number 42 of Parker DeLong has worked his way inside the top 10. This is anybody's race. So many variables here. We've got the weather, we've got wet weather tyres that may be right, we've got slicks that may be right. At least Nate Cicero still around the circuit. He is now...
He's a second and a half faster a lap.
Yeah, he's now beginning to pick up pace.
As the rain is beginning to intensify.
But if he gets some heat in those Michelin slicks, we know that they'll work okay, so long as there's not standing water. And what he's going to make up might be worth it. Gresham Wagner, by the way, in the pit lane. We've got Weston Workman, another championship favourite, 2 laps down on the field after his trials and tribulations. The leaders crossed the line, 20 minutes and 48 seconds to go. I'm just waiting to see next time around if Nate Cicero is actually gaining on the leaders. At the front, the pack, 2:17.5 to 2:18s. So that increase of pace all of a sudden has stopped. Oh, huge move down the inside. That was a low percentage lunge there
but
from Parker to Long, and there was quite hefty contact there.
Yeah, he used Ethan Tyler to make the corner. I'm not sure race control will be fond of that kind of a move. Now, whether it was intentional or just a loss of grip because it is raining harder, that's to be seen. But Ethan Tyler's not going to be happy about that either. His car is not out there to be a pinball. He's out there to race.
Through the far end of the infield section again. Looks like this is, aside from that move that we've just seen, looks like this is settling down a bit. Windscreen wipers on for some of the cars now.
And Jared Thomas has no lights, which friends have just pointed out. It worked for Cadillac at Petit Le Mans, so maybe Jared learned that and is trying a different strategy. Everyone else seems to have their headlights on.
Not seeing any spray coming up from the Michelin rain tyres at the moment. Here comes Cicero across the line. I want to see where he's going to be. No, he's still actually, that was Sally McNulty who's just gone past us. I'm waiting to see the headlights of the number 19 Daytona Motorsports group car as he is still to complete his 10th lap. Here he comes now. It was 2 minutes and 5 seconds, I remember seeing, that he was 10 seconds away from getting lapped. Where's he going to be now? I think he's about the same. I don't think he's gaining that much. Crosses the line
1:58.
now. Oh no, he has. He has 1 minute 58 and a half. So he is gaining. There's 18 3/4 minutes to go. He's not gaining quick enough as it stands right now. But if there was a caution and a late race restart, would he have more grip on the restart or would he have less? So many variables still to untangle here. Looked like the number 19 car of Nate Cicero out in the darkness there. Not a great lap for him last time around, a 2 minutes 19.0, so that suggests to me that he had a bit of a moment.
Meanwhile, Tyler Gonzalez goes back to the head of this group. He is P1 ahead of Bryce Cornier in P2 and Ethan Goulart, the rookie, in P3. The other car from the Mazda Motorsports group organization. Ethan Tyler is 4th and Parker DeLong 5th. And Whelen Mazda, another one of our rookies, is in 6th. So really good showing from the rookies, 2 of them in the top 6.
The rain continues to fall. I don't think it's got any worse, but it hasn't got any better either. Around the outside for number 50, Adam Grant, in the yellow and blue car, trying to make up position. Adam West, excuse me. Grant West. Sorry, I just made him the original Batman there for a moment. For Spark Performance.
You know what? I think Grant will take that.
Yeah.
He's a lovely character, family-oriented, and his mum is wrenching on his car and driving the trailer.
Nice.
Very good people. I really
Parker
like them.
DeLong and Ethan Tyler, that incident, it was, I think, Parker DeLong coming down the inside that started that. That is under review at the moment. More bump drafting on the back straight.
Noah Harmon and Jared Thomas.
Yeah, very good.
Noah working his way back up after starting in the back. Remember, he was one of the cars that was penalized for qualifying. Right behind him is Bailey Cruz, another one of the newcomers to the championship. Did a couple of starts a few years back, did Bailey, the young man from New Zealand. Got a full season planned for this year. So we're happy to see Bailey back in the organization. And Noah Harmon learning very quickly how to draft. Never been to Daytona before. This is a new experience.
Never been to Daytona before.
Well, never raced here before.
Never raced here before, and races in the most slipstream series that you could have. Absolutely need to do that drafting. Those two have been caught by the 3 cars behind substantially. Oh, big moment there. That's a great save and a great piece of avoidance as well for
Ren
2 cars there. Justin Adakonis in the 23, Ren Messinger down the inside, completely sideways. That was absolutely brilliant. Now it's getting worse. Now it's getting worse. Bryce Cornier sideways, going to lose the lead to Tyler Gonzalez. He's taking it back, but he's going to lose it. Warning for that incident down the inside. Parker DeLong is I think very, very lucky there. But my goodness, what a piece of avoidance by the driver of the number 3, Ren Messinger, with the Justin Adakonis car completely out of control. That's fabulous spatial awareness.
It is, and it's kind of cool. Ren's got an old Tony Stewart livery on his car, although he said his hero growing up has always been Jimmy Johnson, so he's not doing it for Tony Stewart, but it's Belhaven investments all over Ren's car because of his association with Matt Dalton and Patrick Gallagher, and very proud of that livery that he's got on.
And we've had a spin for Cody Powell in the JTR car. He was running in 25th. He has recovered, and now the rain is intensifying.
It's blowing. It's actually sheets of rain. Not, as Farhan Siddiqui's gone off and hit something with the left front. That is the Lightning McQueen car run by BSI. Farhan, who lives over in Tampa, not too far away. Can he get the car behind an orange overlap? That's the next question. Are we going to have to go to a yellow?
Left front wheel at a somewhat jaunty angle, and in fact the Michelin tyre has given up the ghost there, as you might imagine, at 45 degrees to the direction of travel. There's some sparks coming out from the wheel, scraping the ground. He's down below the yellow lines. I think we can stay green for the moment. 14 minutes to go. Gonzalez still leads in the red and white car. The grey car in second is Bryce Cornet, and rookie Ethan Goulart for Saito Motorsport, mixing it with the veterans.
And we've had some input from a series veteran, Connor Zilich. Hey, Connor, he's watching. He's picked Tyler Gonzalez to win the race, as Scotty Mack and SVG are also watching with him. Sally McNulty going for a spin into turn 1. She should be able to get that going, though, because her front wheels are on the hard standing. Hello also to James Hinchcliffe, who's had to go in these cars, and he's watching in the infield. Hinch, if you want to come back, love to have you.
Now the rain falls harder. The fuel filler's popped open on Sally's car as well. I don't think that car's going to move. I do not think that car's going to move. We are, and again, it looks like a decision's going to have to be made from next door.
Well, she just got the power back on. Sally is trying to do a full cycle. She started racing very late in life, did a track day in her late 20s when she was working for a car dealership, and always loves wrenching on her own cars. She's got a very large social media following, a really cool YouTube channel where she's working on all kinds of cars, including Mazdas. Very new to racing. She thought for the longest time that Track Attack was the only form of racing that existed. Now she's come into our series, and one of the best liveries we've seen for a while.
Now, you said Farhan Siddiqui with that. We saw Farhan Siddiqui with that incident.
Yes.
With that damage, should I say? And there was an incident that actually caused that, and that was with Cody Powell. And that is being looked at the moment by race control. Leaders coming out the Le Mans chicane.
We're still green.
We're staying green. I like that. Because Sally's got going. She's
Excellent.
in the pit lane exit road, travelling slowly at the moment, as she has to make a choice as to whether she continues. Meantime, the leaders, red and white, that's Tyler Gonzalez, the grey car behind, and there is spray now. There's visible spray from these Michelin wet weather tyres, and look at the group behind coming through as well. It's now a 5-car battle for the lead as Ethan Tyler and Parker DeLong are right there, and we've already had a warning for Parker DeLong in football terms, soccer terms. He's on a yellow card at the moment. I don't think he'll get away with another one. So it's Gonzalez, Goulart, Cornet, Ethan Tyler, Parker DeLong, then a little bit of a gap back to Elio Mesa in 6th position for BSI Racing. He is rather isolated. He's got a second and a half to this leading group, and then about a second away from behind him is Jeremy Fletcher, who's come up through the field in the alternate car after he had problems in qualifying, started dead last, up to 7th position.
Penske Shocking Performance will go to Jeremy Fletcher, assuming that he doesn't lose any of those wonderful positions that he's gained, because he has gained more than anyone else. And Ethan Goulart in that 2nd place, giving a huge bump, a push at the exit of turn 1 towards the leader, Tyler Gonzalez. And Tyler, I'm giving him the most laps led. I don't think anyone can surpass his 8 that he has up to now, as we have 10 minutes to go in this race.
Farhan Siddiqui did get the car behind the wall at Speedway turn 2, and
Good.
also a bit of heads-up driving for Sally McNulty. She's taken her car behind the wall as well. As soon as she got out of the pit lane, she found somewhere that she could get out the way. That's smart driving, and it's considerate driving to your competitors as well. Marvellous stuff then. The roll of the dice for Nate Cicero has, I mean, it hasn't worked really. He did a 220 last time around. The conditions have gone against him. He's now not as quick as the cars ahead, but he's doing a great job on those wet weather tyres. The problem is for him, Shay, in terms of garnering points for the championship, he's sitting down in 32nd position.
I'm not entirely sure that Nate is a full season entrant at this point.
Okay.
But
so maybe he was just going for the big $6 check.
It is interesting that the team has a car currently in second, pushing the leader as the train is coming around the outside to take the lead. That is Bryce Cornier being pushed along by, is that Grant West? No, it's Ethan Tyler in second. And then Elio Meza right there in that 6th position. He's not yet making the move, though.
That was Ethan Tyler just getting a little bit conservative on his braking. He lifted off a long way before they got to the braking area of turn 1. I like that because he was on the back bumper. I think that shows heads-up driving. He doesn't want to be penalised. He doesn't want to make any kind of contact in the braking zone with the car ahead of him. It's cost him 3 places, but he lives to fight on with 8.5 minutes still to go.
I was talking with Shay Holbrook yesterday, and she said, yep, Daytona's a place where you don't really want to pit maneuver people, but you often do, and that could have been a perfect opportunity to see a very nice display of pit maneuvering, but unfortunately race control wouldn't think it was so nice and would probably issue a penalty.
Shay Adam alongside me, John Hindhoff in the IMSA Global Broadcast Centre as we move into quite literally the money laps here, because in addition to the huge prize fund at the end of the season, the addition last year of contingency prize funds to each of the top 10 finishers in every round of the season, that took the prize fund way above $1 million.
$1.2 million in a total payout. 10 grand, sorry,
You
6
did that
grand.
yesterday.
Because I'm adding up the podium in my head and thinking $15,000. It's $6,000 for the winner, $5,000 for second, and $4,000 for third. It pays all the way down. 6th through 10th get $1,000 each. And for keeping the car in the top 10 in these conditions, yeah, you deserve $1,000.
Agree with that. There's debris being reported on the track between turns 5 and 6. It's quite dark out there, so keep an eye on that. Meantime,
this is
Bryce
a new
Cornier still leading, getting a little bit of a helping bumper. Got the chrome horn from Gonzalez. I know we don't have chrome bumpers anymore, but you know what I mean. Gonzalez goes to the high sides as they come into the tri-oval. Now, if this was the last lap of the race, would he have enough to get through? No, he didn't.
Nope. 0.068 of a second, not enough. So now he knows the next time he's going to attempt that, go a little bit sooner, Tyler.
Yeah, I did feel that was a rehearsal for later on.
Oh, for sure.
Guillard still not out of it. Meza, another rookie. Then Parker's along. Ethan Tyler in 6th. Sneaking through, Noah Harmon's come up as well, you know. He's done a great job. He's up to 7th, just ahead of Jeremy Fletcher, who came from the back in 8th. Jared Thomas, strangely, has not really been a factor in that number 96 car. Ren Messinger for McCumbee McAleer Racing in 10th position. Another rookie. What's that? 1, 2, 3 rookies in the top 10. We've got a really great crop of rookies for 2025. Racing in the overall championship, yes, but racing for their own championship, which again has the bonus of a big check. Lead just changed at the far end of the circuit, and that is grip. That was no rear grip from the 65 of Bryce Cornier, and pounced upon. No second invitation required by Tyler Gonzalez.
Yeah. Ethan Goulart is really impressing me right now. And he's a young man who's impressed a lot of people in what he's done in Spec MX-5 and the runoffs in the national championship. But coming into this, which is a much bigger league, after being at the shootout 2 years in a row, it's just a good performance. Sally Mott has gone for a spin. Is that at the Western Horseshoe? I think it is. And Sally manages to recover, get the car pointed in the right direction, and continue on. She's going for the best placed woman. We have 6 women in the race this year, 6 women in the race this weekend, and the best placed woman at the end of this race walks away with a check for $2,000. So that could have been a very expensive spin for Sally.
Top 4 all back together, just under 5 minutes to go. Let's see if we can work out what happened with Sally. He went for a spin a moment or two ago at the far end of the, got the left rear Michelin on the white line under turn-in, I think. There's just not the grip out there, and contact. Glenn McGee. Who were the other 2 cars there, Shea? Was that Bobby Gossett?
It was. And
Alex Bashura?
I think it might have been Nathan Nicholson.
Yes, that would make sense. That would have been 14th, 15th, and 16th at the time. Yep. I'll buy that for $1, as the old saying goes.
Tyler Gonzalez leads yet another lap, further instituting the fact that he will get the 10 bonus points for leading the most laps. Full season plan for Tyler Gonzalez with BSI. At least that's what they tell me.
And let's not forget that these bonus points for pole positions, fastest lap, laps led, they have decided significant championship positions in the past. No reason to think that won't be the same this year.
Nope, we've had championships won or lost by 10 points. And
just one position at the end of the day.
Yes. Elio Mesa goes sliding off the track, and he actually falls back behind Parker DeLong. He's now battling with DeLong and Mesa. And Christian Hodenland is on fire. Is he going to pull behind an orange overlap? He's looking for one. It's right at the... he's found one.
He's done a great job. It's at the International Horseshoe, and I don't know whether something locked up on the car, but there's definitely flames underneath. It could have just been an oil line going, but he's got well out of the way.
No, he's on the Speedway. He's stopped. He's stopped within our line of sight. It's at the exit of NASCAR Turn 4.
Right, there you go. That's where he was coming down to the infield. He's well off the racing circuit. There's
an official standing there with him. We have stayed green through all of this.
That was very odd.
Very.
That I'm going to stay with what I said. That is, I think that's an oil line or something that's gone, because there was a slight puff of smoke from underneath, then a bit of flame, and then a secondary blast of flame. Still green with 2.5 minutes to go, and the field is coming around now. Full course yellow is out. Going to freeze it. If you're going to go, you've got to go now.
No,
too late.
It's done.
That's too late.
Tyler Gonzalez is going to win another race at Daytona International Speedway.
He's making a habit of this.
And on his debut, second, rookie Ethan Goulart for Mazda Motorsports Group. In third for Spark Performance is Bryce Cornier. Wow.
Got to say, I think if I'd been Spark or Saito Motorsport, I'd have been saying, get past that guy now. We saw a race won here coming out of NASCAR Turn 2 with a move that was made seconds before the full course caution came out a couple of years ago.
That was Jared Thomas on Michael Carter.
Yeah.
2 series champions. We miss Michael.
But there was no choice but to throw that yellow and get the safety team, AMR safety team, in there to make sure that that fire did not escalate to anything more serious. So provisionally then, as we head on to the final lap behind the Mazda MX-5 safety car, the Whelen safety car, it will be Tyler Gonzalez, who started in 14th position, who will win from Ethan Goulart, who started in 19th onto the podium. Bryce Cornier started in 9th and going to 3rd.
And you know what? This is Bryce Cornier's first podium. He's been in the series for several years, and it's his first ever trophy.
Brilliant stuff.
Oh, love it.
Brilliant stuff. And in terms of the biggest mover, well, that was, I think we could have pointed the finger early at Jeremy Fletcher, starting right at the back of 36th, worked his way into the top 10. I don't think he was finished, to be honest, even with just a couple of laps to go. We are looking at an incident between two cars. The number 56 of Nathan Nicholson, and the second car is the number 69 of Glenn McGee. Well, that was in the bottom part of the top 10 at one stage and dropped down to the mid-teens maybe. Glenn McGee off at the side of the road. That 69 car hasn't gone too much further. That'll be another position made up by Nate Cicero, but he's only going to finish down in 30. He rolled the dice early on to go onto slick tyres, dropped all bar 10 seconds of a lap, but has not been able, with the rain returning and returning with a vengeance, has not been able to make up any positions.
Our first ever Takumi Award winner goes to Alex Bashura, the man who didn't get to drive his car before qualifying this morning because he had 4 flights canceled trying to get here, made it into Tampa last night, and then had to do the 2.5-hour drive over. So Alex really wanted to be here. He's earned that, and the best placed female is Heather Hadley. Heather, who made it all the way up to P18 after starting toward the back of the field. Really impressive drive from her as well.
She started 29th share, so that's impressive. The points will reflect the finishing order. We'll have to add on the fastest lap and the most laps led as well. I think Gresham Wagner got the fastest lap of the race. Yes, he did, with that 2:14.250, although that car, remember, ended up in the pit lane. So Gresham Wagner with the fastest lap, but he doesn't have to finish the race to get the points.
Correct. He will be scored with 36th place points, which I believe is 10 points in and of itself. So he's going to double his efforts in effect, but it's not enough for the defending series, 2-time series champion, to be happy with that finish. Who else was? Weston Workman did finish the race, albeit several laps down.
2 laps down. Yeah.
He's going to be asking his crew what they can fix on the car to make it better for tomorrow, which perhaps this just turned into a big test session for him for tomorrow's race. I'm never counting out Weston Workman.
So, as we have mentioned, Tyler Gonzalez, Ethan Goulart and Bryce Cornet will be on the podium. Ethan, the best of the rookies. Elio Meza just off the podium, another rookie. Had a great battle with Ethan Tyler in 5th. Parker DeLong coming up through the field to 6th. Noah making up positions as well. Further down the field, Alex Bashura taking that brand new award, and Heather Hadley will take the extra $2,000 for being the best female racer. Frankie Barroso, who was going well early on, dropped back a little bit. Sally Mott had a couple of spins. Cody Powell was in strife at one stage as well. Nate Cicero in 30th. There's the big story. Went for slick tyres early on, didn't pay off. Gresham Wagner, double series champion, in 36th position, but takes the points for fastest lap. Under the lights, under the rainfall, and under incredibly difficult conditions, with Tyler Gonzalez at the front of the field, celebrating with what's left of his Michelin tyres. It's been a great opening to the 2025 Whelen Mazda MX-5 Cup presented by Michelin. Shea Adam alongside me, John Hindorf in the broadcast booth. We'll be back tomorrow to do it all again under probably very different conditions. Might even shake up the grid a little bit. There'll be some people there who did put faster laps in than the qualifying session. Once again, Whelen Mazda MX-5 Cup presented by Michelin has delivered in its opening round here at Daytona International Speedway. Make sure you get the time zones right and you join us tomorrow for race 2.